Next video. Fern video. Camp 14, the most horrible place in North Korea. We've done a lot of North Korea reacts, but they're all very interesting because it's so, like, crowded. There's so much mystery around North Korea and what they do, how they function, what they do to their people, how bad the lives are. I've never heard about Camp 14, so this is going to be interesting.
Class is about to start for these 40 school kids. Like every week, the teacher starts searching everyone's pockets. This time, he finds something on a little girl. 5 kernels of grain. The teacher snaps.
5 kernels of grain? They're searching their pockets before school starts. 5 kernels of grain is bad? Like rice?
And commands the
grain like wheat.
Girl to come up front. She has to kneel down on the hard concrete floor. With a wooden stick, he strikes her on the head. Again.
On the head?
And again. And again. And again. Her classmates watch in silence. The beating goes on until the little girl collapses. Afterwards, her classmates carry her home. The same night, she dies.
What? For having 5 kernels of grain in her pocket, they fucking beat her to death? Why is that a violation?
The little girl and the other 39 children are all inmates in one of North Korea's deadliest prison camps, Camp 14.
Oh my God, no, we did hear about this in the Johnny... We didn't hear any specifics about it, but we heard about the camp in the Johnny Harris video, where you could see the camp and the outlines of it. And this is where they send, like... Dude, it's like an entire city. There's, like, thousands of people that live there.
Comparisons have been drawn to the Nazi death camps, to the Soviet Gulag. You know, they're accurate, and in their own way, they're different.
A lawless detention facility hidden in the mountains of Kaeshan, a place where people are imprisoned for the crimes of their parents. Once you end up here, you will most likely die here.
This is truly a space.
Crimes of their parents, but what's so weird that I don't understand about the camp is, like, yeah, in North Korea, if somebody tries to escape or they commit a crime, part of your family lineage is imprisoned in a camp. But if they have kids in that camp, are those kids also imprisoned? Like, is their family lineage perpetually there for the rest of eternity, or can they ever get out?
That is outside humanity, let me say that.
Prisoners are forced to work under inhumane conditions. The smallest mistake can cost them their lives. Escape is almost impossible. Only a handful make it out, risking everything on deadly routes.
Make it out, but then they probably have to go all the way out of North... If you make it out, you can't stay in North Korea. You would have to flee the country entirely, and I feel like Camp 14 isn't bordering, like, China.
In North Korea, there are several of these death camps, and the regime has kept them a secret for decades. But through the relentless work of human rights organizations, satellite imagery, and reports from survivors, we can have a glimpse at these facilities. Why are people being sent to Camp 14? What does daily life look like inside its walls?
I just don't understand why North Korea and Kim Jong-un, and, you know, whether or not he's a figurehead and his sister runs the country or it's a culmination of things, neither here nor there. Why purposefully crush your nation like that? Like, I understand he keeps his power. I think that's what it is. If he keeps his nation in, like, an impoverished state where the majority of people are either imprisoned, starving, or dirt poor, he can be rich. But, like, if he actually tried to even still keep it a dictatorship, not be a genocidal dictator, and actually run his country in a normal fashion, wouldn't that benefit his own people and therefore him as well? I think it's like he would rather it's better to be feared than loved, is what he's saying, right? I think that's kind of the mindset. Who said that? Another dictator said that. Machiavelli. But it's like, why? That's the route he's going down because it keeps him in power, but it's like, dude, your nation and you, I feel like he would be more rich Even if he was less powerful, he would have access to more shit.
What horrors do the inmates face?
It gives himself more importance. I think it really boils down to also just like straight up narcissism, because he needs to be the center of his entire nation. And if his people are prosperous, then that he's not the guy they bend to.
And how do people actually get out? This is the story of the most horrific prison camp in North Korea.
It's some Hitler shit. Well, it's the same sense of Hitler shit in like he's basically being genocidal to his people. But Hitler was obsessed with world domination. Kim Jong-un's not obsessed with world domination. Kim Jong-un cyclically develops nuclear powers and fucking scares other countries till they defuse the situation. He steps back a little bit and he gets aid, right? And he kind of just does that over and over again to farm wealth for himself and his higher-ups, but still keep his people even like well below the poverty line, like dying poverty line.
This story is based on Escape from Camp 14 by Blaine Harden. One former prisoner of Camp 14 later changed parts of his story. Every time you see this symbol, it marks those revisions. If you want to know more about the exact changes and the reasons behind them, we recommend reading this article. Since North Korea did...
I would just be so worried, even as a North Korea defector. Like, if you left North Korea and you wrote about it, don't you think that Kim Jong-un, at least in part, his insanity, he hires some people to try and track these people down? Like, even if now in modern day you live in, like, Switzerland, or you live in Germany, or even the United States, I could easily foresee, like, Kim Jong-un trying to hire people to come kill you. Like... because he doesn't want you to talk shit about him. Like, that's how tight-knit this is he, like, they hate satellite. I wouldn't be surprised if they have shit underground now, or that's what he's planning to do, because then that keeps shit under wraps. Because he could say all the time, no, we don't have death camps, but, like, you could see them on Google Earth. But now if he puts it underground, you can't tell.
Denies the existence of these camps, independent verification is not possible. Shin Dong-hyuk is just a young boy when he witnesses the little girl being punished for having food in her pocket. Shin has no doubt she deserved it. After all, she stole food. And at Camp 14, stealing means...
Stole food, bro. 5 fucking grains of wheat? What is that, 2 calories? Or is that just supposed to be indicative that, like, she stole more?
He doesn't question it. He knows nothing else. The camp rules are...
It is brainwashed. It is. He's grown up in a camp where, in his mind, it makes logical sense that she should die. Because that's all he's known. It's like, I don't want to tune it to, like, being told Santa's real, but it's like, when you're a kid, you tell anybody anything, they're going to believe it. And if you grow up in a genocidal camp, and they teach you, hey, like, stealing is so wrong that you should die for it, he's probably not even going, wow, that's terrible. He's going, yeah, you know.
Reality.
He's real, though? Yeah.
Shin was...
Oh, you mean Santa? No.
Was born in Camp 14, but his parents didn't fall in love. They were assigned to each other by prison guards. Intimacy...
I'm sorry, bro. And I feel like there's a argument to be made where, you know... Hey, Joe, you might have younger viewers that still believe in that. Bro, you like still believe in that shit? We're talking about genocidal dictators in North Korea, and in the back of your head, you're like, oh, I hope Santa's going to get me presents this year. I'm sorry, man. Like, you just shouldn't be watching me if you believe in that shit. Like, I'm not going to do this facade anymore of like, oh, you know, fucking, bro, come on. Like...
between men and women is strictly forbidden. If a woman becomes pregnant without...
We're watching a video about a fucking genocidal camp, and people are like, but Santa's real, right?
Permission. Intimacy between men and women is strictly forbidden. If a woman becomes pregnant without permission, both she and the baby are shot.
What? Wait.
Is strictly forbidden. They were assigned to each other by prison guards. Intimacy between men and women is strictly forbidden. If a woman becomes pregnant without permission, both she and the baby are shot.
Without permission? How does she get permit? What do you mean? She has to ask?
In Camp 14, there is only one way to have a child. Promotion. Those who work hard, and more importantly, snitch on others, may be granted a reward marriage. This is how Shin Dong-hyuk and his older brother Shin Hee-gyun come into the world. But they don't grow up as a real family.
I do want to question the moral... I think it's a survival in that sense, from the parents' perspective. But in that scenario, wouldn't you say, like, why are you having a kid? Maybe in hopes that they get out of it, or like going back to a regular, because they're saying promotion, so I'm assuming maybe you live a better life in the camp and you're able to go to school rather than just do like slave labor over and over again. But it's like now this kid's basically being born into slavery.
Their mother never talks about the past.
And they probably don't even have the option. It's like you're allowed to have a kid, but I feel like it's also just like, no, you're going to have a kid. Hey, you've been good. We're going to reward you. I don't want it. No, you need to take it. Like, that's probably what it is.
Their mother never talks about the past. Shin has no clue why his parents were imprisoned, and it probably wouldn't matter anyway.
Oh, but he does know that they're in a prison camp.
It's all about suspicion. You know, you don't have to be an anti-regime character. But if you're suspected of being anti-regime, of being a wrongdoer, a wrong thinker, of having engaged in wrong associations, they will send you to the camp.
This is Greg Scarlatoiu. He's president and CEO of HRNK, the Washington-based Committee on Human Rights in North Korea. For years, Greg and his team have been investigating human rights abuses at these camps. Like many others, Shin will most likely stay in Camp 14 for the rest of his life, even though he never committed a crime. This is the house Shin and his mother live in. Along with his mother's promotion came slightly better housing.
Okay, so that's answering my question. Because I kept saying, why would she have a kid if it's not, it's helping her. She gets a better house, better room, maybe she doesn't have to share. Like, they're able to live not a normal life by any means, but like, they get their own space.
They share it with 3 other families and
Never mind.
sleep on the floor.
Holy fuck, they don't even get a bed? So they just sleep in a bare bones house, no furniture, nothing. So it's just a roof, no AC, no heat. It's just to keep them out of, like, the rain.
They share it with 3 other families and sleep on the floor.
Oh my God.
There is a single light bulb in the kitchen. Electricity works for just 2 hours a day. There's no running water, no furniture, no shower, and barely enough food to survive.
Bro, like, I always see this is like such a weird, because like that's evil. That's evil, right? And can we agree? I think there's a difference between bad and evil people. This is like another level of you're not even human anymore. In the most I don't even care if that sounds fucked up. Like, if you're willingly putting hundreds of thousands of people to do this, you're not a human, right? Like, you have no moral groundings. It's not like you fuck up and you're just not seeing the right way and you're ignorant, right? Because a lot of bad people are bad out of ignorance. This is bad out of, not out of ignorance, out of the willingness to go, I'm going to fuck over and murder hundreds of thousands of my own people for the sole purpose of keeping me in power and keeping my narcissistic ways the way they are, right? Kim Jong-un gets to eat whatever the fuck he wants. He gets to smoke expensive cigarettes and have nice whiskey, and his people are dying in camps in the middle of the fucking woods.
The building is part of a model village.
Like, how do you do that? I don't, like, I understand he wants to keep himself in power. It's like, you could still be the leader of North Korea and not do this to your people, man.
One of many. Camp 14 is estimated to
And then they open, and then it's just so weird. Like how they opened tourism for like a week, and then all these vloggers came, and they were like, yeah, this is fake as shit. It's clearly guided. And then they immediately close it, right? It's because like they're trying to get tourism maybe for money, but I feel like it's propaganda. Like, in a weird way, it's like, we need to convince. And is that not telling that what they're doing is wrong? Like, that's how he knows. Because he's going, we're putting people in camps. We don't want them to know that we keep our people in camps. So we're going to do guided North Korea tours to make it seem like our country's amazing so people don't attack us more. Like, what the fuck?
Over around 150.
Israel's just as evil? Well, what's going on in Israel is also fucking insane with Netanyahu and the bombing of fucking Palestinians and shit, and they fucking bomb, hospitals and stuff. And people always get mad in return and be like, well, Hamas is under the hospital. You know nothing about that, Joe. Oh, my fucking God. So, it's okay to bomb innocent civilians then. Yeah, it's a tough situation if that's true. Okay, but that doesn't mean you just fucking go right for the hospital. Well, the U.S. did it in the fucking war in the Middle East. That doesn't make it okay. 153,000 kilometers squared. I like, can you guys visualize that? Whenever they, if you hit me with that number, I have no idea how big that is.
Square kilometers.
Like, how big is that? How big is 153 square kilometers? Like, what's 5 square kilometers? Like, what's like a block? What's like a New York block?
Almost 3 times the size of Manhattan.
Okay.
It is secured by
There we go. So it's huge.
a 60-kilometer fence, patrol paths, barracks, guard posts, and checkpoints. The whole area stretches from river valleys to mountain peaks. The wilderness and the Taedong River
Do they have an estimated amount of how many people are in this camp?
act as a natural barrier, an immense obstacle course separating the facility from the outside world. Little villages are scattered across the vast area, containing housing and working units.
These are sprawling facilities. They're very large facilities. So at some of these facilities, you see farming, agriculture going on. You see some of these facilities that are adjacent to coal mines or other types of mineral exploitation.
And it also has a school.
I'm thinking that do you think these camps fund like a large portion of like North Korea's money? Like, I wonder if there was like a pie graph or a pie chart, what percentage funds what? Because they don't really have a lot of opportunity for trade. Most countries don't fuck with North Korea for very obvious reasons. And they don't trade with them. And so all of their wealth has to come from in-house. And so I feel like to keep their country propped up, like the camp kind of runs that. Because they don't pay any of these workers. They just do basically slave labor.
City. And it also has a school. This is where Shin goes every day. His teacher wears a guard's uniform, carries a weapon.
They export a lot of minerals and coal. Yeah, but I mean, that's not like hyper valuable. Like, that's not gonna, like, their nation, even the best parts of North Korea are like very bad. Like, they don't have nice stuff.
And teaches obedience above all else. Camp rules are brutal. There are 10 of them. Even the smallest violation can lead to execution. Shin memorizes them all. Rule 1.
Wait, what?
Execution. Shin memorizes them all.
I think it's more insane to me, too. Like, even on the levels of, like, them having these concentration camps, like, killing an adult for fucking up a rule versus, like, a born-in-camp child, beating them to death in front of their fellow students because they stole 5 grains of fucking wheat.
Rule 1. Any witness to an attempted escape who fails to report it will be shot immediately.
Wow.
Rule 3. Anyone who steals or conceals any foodstuffs will be shot immediately. Rule 5. Anyone who holds or hides a fugitive's possessions, conspires with him, or fails to report him will be shot immediately. The guards enforce the rules without mercy.
내가 총을 꾸려서 뭐 쏘거나 해도 한나무
I didn't feel the slightest bit guilty, even though I killed so
가책을
often there.
느끼지 않았어. 일반적으로 우리는 그때 쏘도 나라를 지키.
We thought it was the right thing to do to protect our country. So are these people just brainwashed? Yeah, I didn't feel bad. I was killing 5-year-olds. They stole rice. They stole food. That's bad for the country. Yeah, because that one kid stealing 5 grains of fucking wheat's gonna topple down North Korea from the bottom up.
지키기 위해서 내가 한 일이기 때문에.
그 수용소에는
It really does bring up that hard question of, like, are the soldiers responsible for things that the nation tells them to do? And I mean, that's ongoing today. It was in World War II with Germany. It was in Japan. It was in the US. It was everywhere, where it's like, you're being commanded to do this. While you're not entirely responsible, it's like, you're still making the wherewithal decision to be like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, kill these kids.
그 들어오게 되면 사람이 아니에요. 사람이 아니고 그 뭐 내 마음대로 해도 돼요. 그 안에 사람은 은 사람이 아니에요. 사람이 아니고 그 뭐 내 마음대로 해도 돼요. 그 안에 사람은.
And that's what's fucked, is it's like, I think there's like a line they cross where that's how they deal with it in the most fucked up way. It's because if you're seeing them as human, you don't, then your some level of morality inside of you kicks in. where it's like these soldiers are like purposely perceiving these people as non-human, and then it doesn't matter what happens to them in their brain.
그 자리에서 죽이겠으면 죽이고 살리겠으면 살리고 하는 건 내 마음에 뭐 설명해 주세요.
And that's also just like power hungry shit. I think people feed off that. If you're like growing up a soldier, especially in North Korea, where you've also probably grown up in a pretty shitty life, now you're giving power over others, right? Where like the power that's been inflicted, it's like a very hyper evolved version of like what's happening to you, you inflict onto others. What did he say? He was saying he had the power to kill or not kill anybody. It was entirely up to him.
Across North Korea, there are different
Like he probably liked that.
types of detention facilities. The worst of them are called Kwanliso. Camp 14 is one of them. It's also called a total control zone.
People never get out of those. You know, they just waste away. They get killed by this vicious cycle of malnutrition and forced labor.
Shin's mother has to work the rice fields, 10 to 15 hours of hard labor every day. If she meets her quota,
15 hours straight?
she receives food, just enough to survive the night and make it through the next day.
North Korea is all about production targets. If you don't meet them, and probably you will not meet them, you'll get less food, more work, less food, more work, and that's how you waste away and die. That's, you know, the truly tragic story at these camps.
From the moment Shin starts school, his life is split between the classroom and hard labor in the coal mine. Long workdays are made worse by a constant gnawing hunger. Before school, Shin often eats his mother's portion while she's still out in the fields. She beats him for it, but he does it anyway. To him, she's not a source of love or care. She's a rival in the fight for every meager scrap of food.
Wow.
This is Shin's meal, served 3 times a day for his entire prison life. If he makes a mistake, his portion is cut in half as punishment. Sometimes he and the other inmates catch rats, the only source of meat in Camp 14. For Shin, this isn't as much as a nightmare. It's normal life. He has never seen the world beyond the barbed wire. Unlike this man. Kim Young is in his mid-40s when he's brought to Camp 14. He knows the world outside very well. In fact, he was a high-ranking military officer and vice president of a state-owned company. In his former life, he enjoyed culture, a chauffeur, and all the benefits of being a government employee. Now he's also forced to work in the coal mines. Kim didn't break any laws to get here. His parents did.
That's what's fucked, because that's how dictatorships work, because you have to bend. You can't just be an all. You can't be an all-ruling dictator without people below you. And that's like, it's the rule. There's a video that I want to watch called The Rules of the Ruler as well, where it kind of dives into that. But it's like, if you're a dictator, you have to please all 4 people below you that run different areas of your government. And those 4 people have to please the 5 people below them, right? And at some point, you don't have to please people anymore because they just have to bend to your power. But you have to keep people in power happy, otherwise they will turn on you. So that's why Kim Jong-un never gets turned on, because he keeps the people right below him happy, because they lived a shitty life. He brought them out of it and said, hey, if you just follow my rules and do what I do, you'll have power, you'll have a chauffeur, you'll have a mansion, you'll have a nice wife, you'll have this and this and this and this and food and cigarettes and weed and fucking whatever the fuck they want, right? And they'll go, okay. And so they'll just do whatever he says.
Kim didn't break any laws to get here. His parents did. In North Korea, this form of collective punishment is called yunjoje.
Wow.
Guilt by association. Up to 3 generations can be punished for crimes of family members. When Kim was a child, his father and brother were accused of spying for the United States, enough to execute them. After that, Kim was brought to an orphanage under a new name. It took more than 40 years until someone found out about his true heritage. Even Kim himself wasn't aware of the supposed crimes his family allegedly committed.
And that's insane. He didn't even know. He didn't even know. Oh, sorry. No, now you're going to fucking get stripped of everything.
There's absolutely no judicial process. This is extrajudicial punishment. They'll just, take you away in the middle of the night together with your family members. You just disappear. That's how it goes.
개나직 잡아가는 건 없어요. 다 밤에 그냥 원래 그냥 어느 순간에 와서 싹 다 쓸어 가고.
Without the neighbors noticing, So one day you're just living your life like in whatever, if you're in the city in North Korea or wherever, and then the next day your neighbor just disappears. Wow, and then you just don't talk about it. And it's just like, but it's just unspoken. It's like, oh, he disappeared. We know where he is.
정치범 수용소에 가서도 그 가족들은 우리가 뭘 잘못해서 왔는지 그걸 모른다는 거죠.
Fear is the most powerful tool for prison guards to keep inmates in line. During Kim's time in Camp 14, a total of 25 inmates are executed. One day, he witnesses a fellow prisoner being killed for collecting chestnuts that had fallen from a tree. Kim
Chestnuts that had fallen from a tree. Were they even being used?
spends most of his days underground. Hours and hours of endless work with no sunlight and no mercy. Kim struggles. He's never faced labor like this before. Mistakes are inevitable, and every one of them is met with the punishment of a guard who never leaves his side.
Do you think he had like an internal wow moment? Because he was a high-ranking military official, and then now he's being sent to where he probably had to send other people.
One day, a guard strikes Kim with the butt of his gun till he falls unconscious. For the next 2 days, he only receives half his meals. After more than 2 months of living like this in Camp 14, Kim decides to end it. Following a long day of work, he steps into the elevator of a mining shaft. The metal cage ascends until it reaches a height of around 2,000 feet. He pulls the safety pin, and the elevator falls. But Kim survives, and the vicious cycle goes on. When Shin is about 6 or 7, the camp's borders shift. His village is merged into the neighboring Camp 18, just across the river. It's said to be slightly less brutal than Camp 14, but for Shin, life hardly changes at all.
Oh, he got moved to a different camp over?
Shin is 15 and has moved out from his mother's home. He now lives with his father. One day, a teacher allows Shin to spend the night at his mother's house, a reward for good behavior. When he arrives, another guest awaits. It's his brother.
Wait, he got awarded for good behavior, but he tried to take his own life in an elevator. Did they just think it was an accident or something?
One day, a teacher allows Shin to spend the night at his mother's house, a reward for good behavior. When he arrives, another guest awaits.
Oh, it's the previous kid. It's when he grew up? This is him when he's older?
When he arrives, another guest awaits. It's his brother, Shin Hee-gyun. The 21-year-old works at the prison cement factory, a couple of miles away. Shin doesn't like him at all. In the middle of the night, Shin wakes up from his sleep. He hears voices from the kitchen. His brother is talking about escape. His mother seems to support him. Shin's first instinct, he has to report this.
Oh my god. Dude, having to rat on your own family, they'll die. Holy shit. Like, I was thinking it in the sense of like, oh, you just see some guy at like your work doing that. Like your own you would have to fucking snitch on your own family. And because, and it's not even snitch on them and like, oh, they'll just get punished. No, they're going to get shot in the head in front of you. And then you'll be like, not even really rewarded. It's just like, okay, you're not going to die.
He goes to a nearby dorm room and wakes a friend to ask for advice. The friend urges Shin to tell the guards. They go to the school's night guard on duty and report the escape plot.
Wow.
Shin also signs a false police statement, claiming he saw his mother and brother commit murder. This piece of evidence ultimately leads to an execution order.
Wait, so they had to fucking... Wait, what? So they have to fake that they committed a crime so they could kill him? I thought they were just able to kill him for conspiracy to run.
The guards take Shin to an execution site next to the Taedong River.
Why are they taking him there? I wouldn't want to go see that.
A crowd has gathered to watch. They drag out his mother and his brother. They're killed in front of Shin's eyes. In 1996, Kim Young is transferred to Camp 18. To him, this place feels like heaven. The labor conditions are slightly better, and to his surprise, he reunites with his 70-year-old mother, who is also a prisoner here. But the violence and abuse
70-year-old mother, I thought his mom just died.
don't stop. One day, he has to witness how guards beat up his mother and force her to do manual labor. His mother is certain they will both
Oh, other guy. We keep bouncing back between people. Sorry, this is the dude that used to be a high-ranking military official.
labor. His mother is certain they will both die in the camp. Even though it means risking his life, she urges Kim to leave her behind and escape. Escaping from a North Korean death camp is almost impossible.
You know, these are highly protected facilities. You're talking barbed wire, walls, armed guards, intersecting lines of fire.
Well, it's not even just that. You're also extremely you're experiencing extreme malnutrition. And so you're weak. You know, you can't run. You can't you're not going to be able to scale a fence very easily. You have no muscle.
We're talking machine guns. Very, very difficult to escape. I mean, it's, difficult to escape a detention facility in any civilized country. Imagine North Korea.
King Young quietly studies his surroundings. He observes, waits, and starts thinking. He lays out multiple escape plans, but none of them seem doable to him. Another hard day of work. The prisoners are loading coal onto a train. Suddenly, they spot something. Grain scattered across the bottom of a train car. It must have transported food before. The scene explodes into chaos. Prisoners drop everything, desperately looking for the tiniest speck of food.
What, are they gonna eat it right there?
The guards start shouting, but no one listens. Kim discovers a narrow space beneath a metal panel in the floor of a coal wagon. He squeezes inside, and as the train rumbles out of Camp 18, he rides with it.
No way.
Hours later,
He got out because people were staring at grain so he didn't even plan this escape. He just on a whim just tried to get out. Is this based off a true story? This is a true story. This is basically the video version of an actual man's account that escaped North Korea and wrote a book about it.
later, the train reaches Goan Station at around 4 a.m. We don't know exactly how, but Kim manages to crawl out of his hideout and disappears into the night.
But then what the fuck do you do? You know what I mean? I wouldn't know if I got out and now you're in China. What do you do? Do you just go? You gotta go. You get a job. You have no ID. You're not a citizen, right? It's not even just it's not even oh, you're an illegal immigrant. It's you're not even on a record. No one knows who you are. I would have to find, you know what I would do? I would go to another, say I was in this scenario, I feel like I would try to go to a country I knew was enemies with North Korea, and I would go to I would try my hardest to find what is it called, where they have their own setup in different countries? What is it called? You know what I'm talking about. Embassy. I would go to the US Embassy. And I would be I'm a North Korea escapee. I would go to some embassy because he was a soldier too, so he knows the countries that are enemies. I would go to the enemy of North Korea and be I escaped. Please, you don't speak English? I think they're gonna put two and two together. If you are at a U.S. embassy in China and some dude runs in speaking Korean, clearly malnourished, beat to shit, you're probably going to be okay, calm down. I'm going to get a translator, right? Even if you don't speak, say you don't speak the language. I feel there's something that you'd be able to do.
Kim successfully
I'm not
escaped
even
Camp
just saying
18.
U.S. embassy, just any embassy that's not in association or partnered with North Korea.
But his path to freedom is still very long. After finding a worker's uniform, he changes clothes.
You want to know what an embassy is? Ooh, that's true. But you can't just walk up to a random guy in China and be I'm from North Korea, help me. You're not going to be able to speak to them, and it's what the fuck? They're just going to rat on you.
And starts a treacherous journey that will take him many months through China and
Oh my god, he had to go all the way to Mongolia?
Mongolia to South Korea, where he'll eventually
What? He had to make his way all the way to Mongolia so he could catch a flight to South Korea?
seek asylum. Escaping a prison is one thing. Escaping the country is another. We made a whole video on how to escape North Korea. Link is in the description.
Yeah, we watched that video.
Shin also manages to escape from Camp 18 twice, both times by crawling under a fence. Both times he's recaptured. After his
I'm wondering why he wasn't killed if he was recaptured.
second attempt, Shin is sent back to Camp 14 and is thrown into a special detention center, a place with only one purpose: torture.
그냥 뭐 매만 맞고
I still have the scars of my torture and the burns.
뭐 내가 걱정도 안 해.
Look at my arms.
내가 예능 사람들처럼
My arms aren't normal.
다 아래
They are bent and deformed.
다른 사람들 꺾고 너 원래
Before
His arm is like they snapped it.
I was tortured, my arms were straight.
다 이렇게 꺾고 나는 이렇게 또뭐 몸도 그렇고.
When I was tortured, my arms were tied up with a rope and pulled backwards.
그러다 보니까 저절로 이렇게 팔이 계속 휘는
That
거예요.
made them more and more bent.
그럼 이런 거 샤워하다가
I'm filled with anger when I stand in front of the mirror and look at my body after a shower.
이런 모습들이기 때문에.
After 4 weeks of torture, he's thrown into a pitch-black cell. No windows and barely enough space to lie down. There he'll spend the next 6 months. After his release, Shin is thrown back to the general prison population. He has to work in the coal mine, the farm fields, and eventually in a garment factory. This is where he meets Park Young-chul, a man unlike anyone Shin has ever seen. Born into an elite family, Park once held a prestigious job and had seen the world beyond North Korea's borders.
What? So he left North Korea?
By then, Shin already knows he's on the execution list. With Park at his side, he begins planning what will be Shin's third and final escape. Shin and Park are assigned to do some woodwork up in the mountains, along with some prisoners. They're chopping wood near the outer fence. The camp's fence is around 10 feet high, and
How many guards do you think they got for like a group of people? Because part of me's thinking like you could just rush those motherfuckers, you know?
lined with high voltage barbed wire.
But I feel like, bro, if you got a group of 10 people, they probably got like 3 guards. And they're all holding machine guns or rifles.
The next guard tower is a quarter of a mile away. Shin watches
Some people would die. Yeah, well, realistically, they probably have enough guards to where all of them would die, so they can't revolt. But I'm thinking, like, if you had 2 guards and 10 people, you could realistically try, like, knowing 8 of you are going to die, but, like, 2 of you are going to be able to overpower them and live, and then you just steal their shit.
the patrols. There are long gaps between them where no guard is close enough to spot the two. The plan is simple. Wait until dusk so that their footprints can't easily be traced in the snow. They slip through the high voltage wires without touching them.
Risky maneuver.
As the sun sets, Shin and Park move closer to the fence. They hack branches, pretending to stack wood. Nobody notices them. Park hesitates. Shin's heart races. He grabs Park's hand and they run. Shin slips. Park reaches the fence before him. He tries to squeeze his head between the 2 lowest wires and hits one of them. Park's body is not moving. The bottom wire bends under his weight, creating a narrow gap.
Oh my god, and you just leave him. Oh my god, you just leave him.
Shin crawls over Park's
You have to.
body. He's almost past the fence when his legs slip, hitting one of the wires. The voltage tears through him. His pants char. His skin burns from ankle to knee.
It's that fucking high of voltage. Did it kill him?
But somehow he makes it through.
No! Okay.
Park's body lies dead on the fence. Shin runs without looking back
Oh, because he got hit in the head.
for 2 hours straight until he realizes that he made it. He manages to cross the river to China, and after a journey of almost 2 years, he finally reaches South Korea. These are all the prison camps that are most likely active in North Korea today. According to Greg Scarlatoiu,
Like right now. Like right now. I know time difference, like it's 7 p. Time difference, what time is it in North Korea? It's 8 a.m. There's people in North Korea right now in camps that are like doing slave labor. Right now. Like right now, there's probably thousands of people that are actively fucking doing crops, cutting wood, being beaten to death. Fuck, man.
the camps are changing, and not for the better. Camps near the border have reportedly been moved further inland, likely to make escape even harder. And some new internal perimeters have appeared, possibly to isolate high-value prisoners.
A third development in terms of infrastructure, evolution, and development has been the creation of watchtowers and what appears to be intersecting lines of fire around the camps that would be meant to basically exterminate those who attempt to leave those camps.
For some camps, evidence is even scarcer.
There's one camp that we know very little about, and that's Camp 16, 1-6. That's very close to the Punggye-ri nuclear testing facility. And I have spoken with the South Korean nuclear scientists who said, look, we don't believe that prisoners are used in digging those tunnels for the nuclear tests, but it is very likely that they will be, used and abused while cleaning up after those nuclear tests.
The
Oh my God, what? And then they're gonna like die of radiation.
HRNK estimates that up to 120,000
120,000 people in these camps.
people are currently held in North Korean prison camps. In fact, as a viewer of this video, you might know more about them than most North Koreans ever will.
We have to remember that these people are being tortured and maimed today. They were tortured and maimed yesterday, and the same will happen tomorrow. So, I think it's a matter of moral, ethical, religious, and political obligation to continue to maintain our interest in these issues.
This is Shin today. He gradually adjusted to a life in society and became a public speaker and advocate for human rights in North Korea. In 2015, Shin Dong-hyuk retracted parts of his story and admitted to changing certain key details in Escape from Camp 14. The book's author published a detailed statement outlining every change Shin had made. According to Shin, some memories were simply too painful and others too shameful to share truthfully at the time. This is
Wow. So it's not even like he made it seem worse. He made it seem better than it was. Like one of the edits it showed was that he hated his brother. And so it was easier for him to rat on him.
a common reaction for victims of torture, who often cope by suppressing or distorting their accounts of what really happened. Greg Scarlatoiu and others believe Shin's changes don't alter the fundamental truth of his reports.
Was Shin Dong-hyuk a political prisoner? Yes, 100%. Okay, he spent some time both at Camp 14 and Camp 18, right across the river. Did he witness the execution of his mother and brother? Yes, he did. So the fundamental elements of Shin Dong-hyuk's story did not change.
Shin bears the
Yeah, it's like small little additions to each part of the story.
scars, physical and psychological.
I just don't know how you could physically live a regular life after that. You know what I mean? Like they're very like advocative and they do public speaking work, but it's like always in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, people I knew are in that camp right now. Like you escaped and now you could live in South Korea, but it's like, there's over 100,000 people that are there still and they're just never going to get out. Wow. That's a sad video, but I'm glad we watched it. All right, count me down 30 seconds. Sean, I got to pass, then we're going to hop in.